Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Sunday he expected to complete a new Gaza offensive fairly quickly, as the UN Security Council heard new demands for an end to suffering in the Palestinian enclave. Netanyahu, speaking after his security cabinet on Friday approved a much-criticized plan to take control of Gaza City, said he had no choice but to complete the job and defeat Hamas to free hostages seized from Israel.
Israel's security cabinet instructed the IDF to dismantle the 2 remaining Hamas strongholds in Gaza City and the central camps. Contrary to false claims, this is the best way to end the war and the best way to end it speedily.
Hamas says it will not disarm unless an independent Palestinian state is established. It was not clear when the offensive, which would be the latest in successive attempts by the Israeli military to clear the militants from Gaza City, would begin. European representatives at the United Nations said famine was unfolding in Gaza, and Israel's plan would only make things worse. Here's Slovenia's Samuel Žbogar.
Expanding military operations will only endanger the lives of all civilians in Gaza, including the remaining hostages, and result in further unnecessary suffering.
Malnutrition is widespread in the enclave due to what international aid agencies say is a deliberate plan by Israel to restrict aid. Israel rejects that allegation, blaming Hamas for the hunger among Palestinians, and saying a lot of aid has been distributed. The U.S. representative at the Security Council, Dorothy Shea, defended Netanyahu and said Washington was committed to addressing humanitarian needs, freeing the hostages, and achieving peace.
We need to place responsibility where it lies, with Hamas, and hold it and other Gaza terrorist organizations fully accountable. Today's meeting, like so many other recent actions, undermines those efforts. Israel has accepted 3 ceasefire proposals. Hamas consistently rejected them. It is not negotiating in good faith.
Netanyahu said Israel was working with Washington on creating a surge of aid into Gaza, including by land. His office said he spoke with U.S. President Donald Trump late Sunday to update him on Israel's plans.
We must remember and keep fighting, because only through remembrance and action can we bring them hope.
Our ultimate goal remains unchanged: Israel and a fully independent, democratic, contiguous, viable and sovereign Palestinian state, of which Gaza is an integral part.
The suffering endured in Gaza over the past 22 months has been nothing short of soul-searing. I'm extremely concerned over the prolonged conflict, the reports of atrocities and further human toll that is likely to unfold following the government of Israel's decision to expand military operations in Gaza. This marks a grave escalation in the conflict that has already inflicted unimaginable suffering. Now, for over 670 days, Palestinians in Gaza have endured daily killings and injuries. More than 61,000 people have been killed. Dignity should be respected for all. International humanitarian law serves as a compass for the conduct of it. Since the escalation of hostilities in October 2023, the health authorities in Gaza have documented the deaths of 98 children from severe acute malnutrition, 37 alone since the 1st of July, just over a month ago. This is no longer a looming hunger crisis. This is starvation, pure and simple, designed to ensure a minimum of humanity.
In Gaza, children and babies are suffering from starvation. Hundreds of civilians have been killed trying to access basic food supplies. This inhumanity cannot be justified. The partial aid access Israel granted in late July has proven woefully inadequate. We have a clear message for Israel. Urgently and permanently lift all restrictions on aid delivery. Thank you, President. I thank ASG Yencha and Mr. Raj.
Des dernières annonces faites par Israël, il nous fallait tirer la sonnette d'alarme. Comme nous l'avons indiqué le 8 août dernier, la France condamne, dans les termes les plus forts, le plan du gouvernement israélien d'étendre ses opérations militaires pour prendre le contrôle de la ville de Gaza en vue de contrôler militairement l'ensemble de la bande de Gaza.
Of the European members of this Council. I also wish to thank Assistant Secretary General.
We condemn the government of Israel's decision to further expand its military operations in Gaza. This plan risks violating international humanitarian law. We call on Israel to urgently reverse this decision and not to implement it. And we reiterate that any attempts at annexation or of settlement extension violate international law. Expanding military operations will only endanger the lives of all civilians in Gaza, including the remaining hostages, and result in further unnecessary suffering. And we are clear that Hamas must disarm and play no future role, no future part in the governance of Gaza, where the Palestinian Authority must have a central role. But this decision by the Israeli government will do nothing to secure the return of the hostages and risk further endangering their lives. It will also worsen the already catastrophic humanitarian situation in Gaza and risks further death and mass displacement of Palestinian civilians. We have a clear message for Israel. Lift restrictions on aid delivery to allow the UN and established humanitarian partners to operate safely and at scale, in line with the principles of humanity, impartiality, neutrality, and independence. After 22 months of suffering in Gaza, now is the time for diplomacy, no more war. Thank you.
Ambassador, can you just take a question? Is there
No,
any
we cannot take
plan,
questions.
European plan to get the talks back on?
We'll speak inside.